Hi, everybody, and welcome to Anger Management 101. We're going to do some super quick introductions and then jump right into the content. My name is Amy Jones Anichini, and I am the founder and president of nonprofit Act Like You Matter. I also run our youth advisory board, Theater of Peace, and three of them are here today to run this workshop with you. So let's have you guys quickly introduce yourselves.
So hi, my name's Morgan. I'm 15. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm from Texas.
My name is Eloise, and I am in 10th grade. I'm 15. I use she, her pronouns. I'm calling in from Washington, D.C.
I'm Milan. I'm 15. I go by she, her, and I live in Houston.
I want to just give a quick shout out to Eloise. One of our original presenters, Alyssa, has been sick for about a week. Alyssa, we hope you're feeling better. So Eloise stepped in and is filling her spot. So it's as if you've been here the whole time, Eloise. We really appreciate you. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Morgan.
Hello, thank you all for attending Anger Management 101, hosted by teens, Eloise, Milan, and me, Morgan, for teens. This workshop will break down the basics of anger management. We'll cover a range of topics, from understanding the anger itself to coping with it. If there's anything you feel we didn't cover in this workshop, we'll be hosting an additional Q&A near the end. If you have any questions during the session, feel free to type them into the chat. We'll try and get to all of them by the end. Okay, so a few of the things we'll go over includes what is anger management, understanding your anger, coping mechanisms, a Q&A, and a page with more resources at the end. We will also do a few optional activities throughout this workshop. Anger management is the power of understanding your anger and controlling it with coping mechanisms and reflection. In short, anger management is what it seems, managing your anger in whatever way you see fit. The most important step in any anger management journey is recognizing and reflecting on it. How can this be done? When you lash out, for example, maybe you've argued with somebody and you notice you reacted in a way that was disproportionate to the situation, take a moment during or after to evaluate why you felt the need to do that. Here are some questions you can ask yourself to reflect on the situation. At what point did my anger become too much? Have I been bottling up emotions? What did this person do or say that made me feel this way? Is there anything else eating at me? Those questions were so important because without reflecting on your situations, it'll be hard to prevent lashing out in the future. And then next time, how quickly can I recognize the pattern of my behavior and how quickly can I calm myself down? Okay, so it's time for our first activity. You can write down a few things that trigger your anger, and this is completely optional, but if you feel comfortable, feel free to share them.
Eloise and Morgan, is anyone sharing triggers in the live stream chat or the Zoom chat?
Oh, okay, yeah. Emma says my big brother being mean to me. That one's, I feel like that's pretty common, like with younger siblings or even older siblings. Like those things can be really triggering when anyone is mean to you, especially when it's someone who lives with you. So I completely understand that one. Eloise, do you see anyone's?
I saw one, it comes from a YouTube user, when people speak during movies, which I also hate that a lot. Oh, when people interrupt.
Yes. All right.
Kaylee says hunger is a trigger for her. Like when you're hungry?
I just saw someone say, like, when they get cut in lines.
Yeah, that one's a good one. Let's see.
Okay, you guys, somewhat Avery. Avery, this is fun. Avery says socks.
Socks.
Yeah, what do you guys think about
Oh.
that? Is this like a sensory, like texture kind
I
of
would
thing?
think it's a sensory thing. I kind of understand what she's saying. Like, you know, when the seam is like all weird. Yeah, that one's a good one, Avery. Okay, so reminder, your emotions are always valid, but it's never okay to take them out on others. When we go on to the next slide, I'll hand things over to Milan.
Thank you so much. What is a coping mechanism? Coping mechanisms are strategies people use to deal with stress and manage uncomfortable emotions. A coping mechanism can be a great way to avoid further lashing out. Everyone copes in a different way, and finding a coping mechanism that quickly calms you down can be incredibly beneficial. Improved mental health, greater decision making, and can help you and others feel better. Stomach breathing, the reigning champ of coping mechanisms. You can do this from a coping mechanism right now, in the moment, and without anyone knowing. All right, activity. try stomach breathing with us. So this is a instruction video that helps you understand stomach breathing.
You know when you're upset or nervous, people always tell you to take a deep breath? Well, what they really mean is stomach breathe. Let your stomach move in and out while you breathe. This is different from chest breathing, where your chest moves in and out while you breathe. Stomach breathing, or belly breathing, helps you calm down. So take a deep breath in. As you breathe in, let your stomach push your hand out, and you can watch your hand move. Then, as you breathe out, let your stomach move back in and watch your hand follow along. So, breathe in, stomach out, hands out, breathe out. Stomach in, hand in. It's kind of like your stomach is a balloon filling with air. Let's do a few more together. Hands on your stomach, breathe in, stomach out, hand out, breathe out. Stomach in, hand in.
Tip: you could do this at any moment. The most important step is to take a moment to breathe.
So I'm going to really quickly just jump in here. This is Amy speaking in case you guys can't see me. Lots of times we talk about stomach breathing when we work at schools. And for primary, kindergarten through third, we actually get them on their feet and we practice together. But for older kids, we don't do that. And lots of times we hear, but I'm already breathing. Don't tell me to breathe. And people start getting kind of defensive. But the interesting thing here is we're not saying take a deep breath or make sure you're breathing. We're saying try breathing in a different way, in a way that is scientifically proven to be calming, letting your stomach expand and contract while you're breathing rather than your chest.
I'm gonna pass this over to Eloise.
Thank you. So remember that these coping mechanisms are not the only ones, but you could stomach breathe, listen to music, write or journal, create art, or do physical activity like working out or taking a walk. So now we're going to do an activity. So name a coping mechanism that helps you. So some that help me are listening to music and watching TV. And you'll have a bit of time to write your own.
Eloise, I'm seeing some things coming through in the chat, the live stream chat
Emma
from
says boxing.
All right.
Cool one.
What else have we got? Any others?
Saw someone said going for a run or walking their dog.
Xander said, oh wait, not Xander. Avery says gaming. And gaming's a really good one, but I feel like it kind of makes some people mad. So
Okay, now I'm curious about what Xander said. What did Xander say?
okay, Xander said talking with his friends.
Nice.
I like that one.
I saw someone said like making friendship bracelets, which I will do sometimes because it gives me something to do with my hands.
Nice. You know, I just thought of one. I'm gonna throw this out there. How about baking? What if you like bake cupcakes or cookies? Or
And you
something
get a
like that?
reward afterwards.
Exactly. All right. Thanks, you guys.
You don't have to stick to one coping mechanism. Try things out and see what works for you. You can go outside to help. I think that's actually been scientifically proven to help with your mood. You could walk your dog or you could dance. If you already have coping mechanisms, that's great. But it's always good to have multiple so that if you can't use one at a certain time, but you could use another.
It seems like a common denominator for a lot of these that we have on this slide is just taking a moment to step outside. Like that can be really calming. Even just having more oxygen, like it can really calm someone down. Going for a run, walking your dog, gardening. Just try stepping outside.
Mm-hmm. And you can like try and like maybe, I guess, play a game, sort of like try and see what you can find out there, like what animals you see and what they're doing, or how many different types of flowers or how many different types of trees you can see. So when you have anger management issues, you might feel guilt for whenever you act out, and that's completely valid. I know I do. Finding a healthy way to deal with the guilt is really important. It helps you deal with your future emotions and process them in a healthier way. So one way to deal with the guilt is to find a way to understand yourself. Think deeper into the way you reacted and try to figure out what triggered you and work on ways to logic with yourself to prevent more rushes of emotions. So if you need to apologize to anyone you may have affected, it doesn't have to be a huge apology. It just has to be sincere. It doesn't just help the receiver of the apology, but it can also help you heal from the guilt that you may have from causing pain to others. So, is there anybody that you feel like you need to apologize to? Think of anyone that you believe deserves an apology from you and write their name down on paper. If you feel comfortable, send them a quick text. This is an optional activity.
Ethan, they said they need to apologize to their mom and dad. That's pretty nice.
Anybody else commenting in the chat?
I just saw someone say their friend, and I think, yeah, that's really important because like you want to have a friendship that stays together.
Nice.
So I think apologizing would be really, really good. Cole asked how they would apologize to their teacher, which I think that's a really, really good question because they will really appreciate apologies. So be specific and don't, I guess, make excuses. Say, like, I felt blah, 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 so I acted in this way, and I hope you can understand that, and that if there's anything that you need, this is very cliche, but teachers don't choose to become teachers because they don't like kids. If you're a teacher, you really like kids. You love to, like, you like to interact with them. And so they will understand if you act out, and they'll love that you have gone out of your way to give an apology to them. Yeah.
Fantastic. I see another one. This is great, you guys, because this is kind of heading us into our Q&A session, which I believe is coming up soon. But I see Alex asked a really great question here. What if I feel like I hurt too many people to apologize to? I bet a lot of people feel this way. What do you guys want to say to Alex? Do you have suggestions for Alex?
For me, and this is something that Miss Amy did say, you don't have a ton of people to apologize to. You really just have one. You can start with one person at a time. If you truly feel like you hurt someone and you think it's too many people, it's too overwhelming, start with, whoever seems the most plausible. Like, for example, if you hurt both your teacher and your mom, apologize to your mom. She's at home. She's going to appreciate that apology. When you go to school, write your teacher a note, write your teacher a letter. This question is amazing. And I feel like there's so many people who feel this way. My one thing to you would be don't overwhelm yourself with the apologies.
Morgan, I really love the point that you just made about writing down the apology, because sometimes, the idea of walking up to somebody and being super vulnerable can induce some anxiety. So, and sometimes anxiety and anger can kind of go hand in hand. So, the idea that you could jot down an apology on, a sticky note or a piece of scratch paper or even text somebody is a great alternative. It does not have to be face to face.
It's most important to understand that do not rush these apologies. Apologize when you're ready to.
Thanks, Milan. That's great, because that can also cause stress. If anyone who's participating in this workshop feels like we're saying, oh my gosh, you got to go run and apologize to all these people right now, we're not saying that at all. Start with one. Start with somebody who's maybe right there in your house. Do it in your own time. Don't let it add to your stress. Great point, Milan. Thank you.
Your main priority should be being sincere and not, oh, well, I'm just going to say I'm sorry and I'm just going to text 500 people that I'm sorry.
Sometimes somebody might say to you, I'm sorry. That's great. It's great to hear an apology, but for what? Right? If you're the person that's giving the apology, if you can try to go beyond simply saying I'm sorry and giving some context, like, I'm so sorry about when we were talking the other day and I said XYZ or whatever it might happen to be. Just give some details about what it was that you did that you regret.
Yeah, it's like so like how in elementary school you learn the I feel statements. Maybe you could do something similar with I'm sorry, like with apologies. Like it could be I'm sorry because I did this. I hope I can make it up to you. Maybe would be like a good format.
That's great.
So hold your horses, you guys, because we're still having our Q&A, but I just wanted to go over a few things that are on this slide. That QR code right there will send you to our link tree. And on there, you can click and scroll to find us on social media, DM us some of your questions, and tell us what other topics you would like us to cover in our workshops. All right, so it's time for the Q&A. We have been, watching out for questions, during, so we're just gonna answer a few of those. Xander just said, if I'm angry at the moment and I do stomach breathing, someone's gonna clown me. It looks the same as just regular breathing, and I'm assuming that you're breathing in your everyday life. Stomach breathing is really just taking a deep breath from your stomach. I guess a metaphor for stomach breathing, when you breathe in, your stomach should inflate like the balloon. And when you breathe out, your stomach should go in. So, for example, when you see the balloon go out, that's you breathing in. When you see the balloon go in, then that's when you breathe out. Exhale.
I've
So
heard stomach breathing explained as like when the balloon is inflating is when you're breathing in. If you need like words to remember when which thing happens.
Somebody asked, what if I have asthma? I'm pretty sure, someone please fact check me on this, but stomach breathing actually helps with asthma. If you're worried about it though, ask a parent or a doctor before you start, because it can be dangerous to try new breathing methods, especially if you're an asthmatic. It is commonly used as like a breathing exercise for people with asthma.
yeah, Morgan, thank you for that. Super important for us to remind everyone that we are not medical professionals. I would just add that if you have a medical condition and you're apprehensive about trying stomach breathing, couple thoughts on that. First time you try it, or the first couple times you try it, have somebody nearby, somebody responsible. I would also say if you have asthma, have that rescue inhaler nearby, just as a safety mechanism, because we want you guys to be safe and we want these tools to be helpful and not anxiety inducing or not cause you a physical problem, of course.
I've just
yeah.
seen in the YouTube chat, what if someone else is constantly lashing out against me? That's a great question.
So, Eloise, you have thoughts for this person that asked that question. What if you're on the receiving end of this behavior? What can you do to help yourself? Or is there anything you can do to help them?
I think maybe you should show them this video, you know? That was a joke. I'm sorry. Um, I think you can probably talk to them maybe when they're calmer, and you could ask them, am I doing something that is upsetting you? Is there any way that I can stop or that I can help?
Nice. Morgan, did you have something to add?
This person's anger management journey is their own. If somebody is lashing out on you consistently, I suggest you ask them if there's anything happening in their personal life, or, like Eloise said, if there's something that you did to make them feel this way. But I don't want anyone to feel pressured to apologize to somebody just because that person is lashing out or maybe dealing with anger management issues. Just remember, like, everyone has their own struggles, and you should take every situation like this with nuance and empathy.
Nice. As the adult in the room, who's also a parent, I want to add something for you guys to consider, something that my daughter and I did when she was younger. So when one of my daughters was younger, she was bullied, and it led to some anger issues for her, as it often does, and that's completely understandable. And so sometimes we'd be having a conversation and she'd be angry, and then that would kind of escalate me, and then that would further escalate her, and none of that was good for anybody. So we developed this way of being able to say, and we could each say it to each other, hey, I'm afraid that if we continue to talk right now, I might say something that I'm gonna regret. So I'm gonna remove myself from the situation, and let's come back around and talk about this further later after we've both had a chance to to cool down.
Milan, back to you. Did you see another question for us?
Yeah, also that was an amazing answer.
Thank you.
Mateo asked, my question is, what if my parents make me angry when they ask me to do my chores? What do I do? Well, I have a great solution for this, and that is just clean your room. And I know like that sounds so mean, but like actually like usually like when I get asked to clean the downstairs, I usually am just like, oh, it's like maybe if everyone just like cleans up after themselves, then this wouldn't be a problem. But then again, if you could just clean up your room and then walk to your parents and maybe like tell them just like, hey, is there like a way I could like maybe just like stop doing this so often or something like that?
Like if you're told to do something that you don't want to do, finding a way to rationalize and tell yourself how it benefits you is a really good way. Like you said, cleaning your room. You don't want your room to be dirty, so it's okay that you clean it because how else is it going to get cleaned? Or like doing the dishes. You need to eat off of clean plates and you need to have silverware. So you're going to have to do the dishes and you're going to have to like put them away.
And might I add, just in general, like level-headed thinking is really important in general when it comes to anger management. Just putting yourself in the other person's shoes. Like coming home to a dirty house is, it's not amazing, especially after a day of work, I assume. If your parents work long hours or whatever, like it might be a little bit, upsetting to see there's dishes piled up high or they can't find a spoon or a fork. Another thing is, if you're getting upset about having to do chores, maybe you're overwhelmed with other things and other aspects in your life. Like, how can you help yourself feel less overwhelmed about this? Like, for me, if I have a bunch of homework and I'm told to clean the dishes, like, I would get a little upset, but that's on me because my homework isn't done. So just find ways to rationalize this situation.
Okay, any other questions that you guys see in
This
the
is
chat?
one. Have any of you guys ever had problems controlling your anger? And for me, the answer is a definite yes. And I think I have, using these techniques has certainly helps me. Like finding coping mechanisms and learning how to stomach breathe has probably been one of the most helpful things that I've done to to progress through that journey. And we've included these strategies because we know they work and our sources also know they work.
For me, I've definitely have to agree with Elise on that one. Definitely struggled with anger issues too in the past. Definitely what has helped me a lot was stomach breathing and level-headedness. So yeah.
I have a follow-up question for you, Milan, not to kind of out you here, but when we were practicing for this workshop, you shared that you have asthma. Can you talk about your understanding of stomach breathing and whether or not it helped you? And each person's health, of course, is their own, and your experience might not be the same as somebody else's. But would you mind just sharing with our attendees what you sort of discovered when you were learning how to stomach breathe?
Yeah. So that's actually a great question. For example, when I used to get out of breath sometimes from just like doing basic stuff, I used to get really angry because why can't I just do like normal stuff, right? So, but then I started to just like, well, maybe I'm just gonna try out this thing they put in the workshop. Might as well try it. So I just sat down and I was like, all right, stomach breathe. And I stomach breathed. And at first I was like, this is not working. So I tried like maybe a week after. And then yeah, it really started to like help me with, my asthma and stuff. But definitely I cannot say this for every single person out there, but definitely for me, having anger issues and asthma, stomach breathing kind of is like a 2-in-1 for me.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing. Morgan, have you got anything to share on, I know I steered us back to asthma, but do you have anything to share on have you experienced anger yourself and how have you managed it?
I feel like everyone has experienced anger, yes. I haven't experienced, like, let's say, anger management issues, but all of these techniques in the workshop can help more than just people who are struggling from anger management issues. Like, for example, For me, like my teacher, she gives us like a lot of work in one day. And for me, during classes, it's kind of hard to focus when I'm thinking of my work. The stomach breathing has helped me like literally been able to calm down and just listen. And it's just helped my school life. And these techniques are helpful for more than just anger. Like, for example, anxiety, just sadness. Like, I just think, yeah, it's great.
Nice, nice. You guys, I don't know if you saw this question. This is an interesting one. So let's see. Anna said, "What if so my little sister, who's a lot smaller than me, gets really angry and even is physical with me, and my parents are telling me that I can't fight back because I might hurt her. Like, and I interpret that as I can't defend myself. What am I supposed to do?"
Well, what I personally would suggest would be to, I guess, just to distance yourself because obviously, if she's a lot younger than you, then you do run the risk of like accidentally hurting her if you were to defend yourself. But I also think that this is an important conversation for you to have with your parents, about your little sister's like mental health and things like that. Because if she's like physically hurting you or even just emotionally hurting you, like that can, it will worsen or may worsen in the future.
If you're the older sibling, you should probably teach your little sister that, hey, dude, you should not be doing that. It's very annoying. And definitely like that's like if your parents aren't doing anything about it, you should definitely just like, sit down and talk to the kid. Just like, hey, dude, what's up with that?
So, as a younger sibling myself, I think I'm probably guilty of this. I think what my siblings would do, they were really good at this. They would offer, like, for me to go outside and we could do like a more physical activity together. We could play like a sports game, like we could just throw balls around or play tag. That will also get her really tired once you run around long enough. And if she
That's
doesn't
great.
want to do that, but you have pets, you can tell her like to cuddle with the pet. And so maybe having her play with the pets will calm her down.
Nice. Morgan, did you have something to add, or did you see a different question in the chat that you wanted to address?
I just wanted to say, like, if your little sibling is having like a lot of trouble with anger, like Eloise said, this can be something that you can deal with, or maybe talk to your parents about this so that your little sister can get further help. Here are some more resources that you can use. The first one is going to be life skills coaching with Miss Amy, who is here in the meeting with us. The second one is managing your emotional reactions for teens. The third one is an in-depth guide to stomach breathing. The fourth one is a podcast on how to avoid letting your anger get the best of you. And then the fifth one is just the crisis hotline. And then here are just like our sources that we've used throughout the workshop. Thank y'all so much for attending. I hope you learned something like that you can use in your general daily life.
Thank you so much to everyone who attended the live stream or via Zoom. Special thanks to Morgan, Milan, and Eloise for creating and running this amazing workshop. At Act Like You Matter, we could not do what we do if it wasn't for our Youth Advisory Board. So thanks, you guys.
Have a
Thank you.
great rest of the day.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
You too.